think I've got the mic working now. I had it turned off by the sound of it, maybe. I don't know if that's working now. Slight failure. Slight failure. We'll see. Thanks for coming in the chat, Leslie. I'll yeah. Let's see. Slight failure. Okay. Sorry. I didn't have a mic set up on the stream because I'm an idiot. So, ignore everything I didn't say because the thing was deleted. This is basically just a bit of a hobby night thing where I've got some 3D files I've been printing. So I have shown them on the camera, but no one really understood the reference. So I've printed about just under 90 miniatures, which are sort of undead Egyptians. So yeah, undead Egyptians, which I'm going to be using as Tomb Kings, or I say Tomb Kings, fantasy army. The idea of old world, possibly. Sorry, everybody, for my mic. It's because I changed the thing on here, and I'm just an idiot. So yeah, I've got some sort of undead Egyptians. I want to get some more printing tonight, so I thought I could take you through that if I just load up the build plate and get them printing. And then to finish off, I just need to start sticking a load of the dudes on the bases. So I've gone for round bases because I'll probably, more realistically, I'll be using these for other systems like Saga, Age of Magic. But in theory, if a 25mm round is going to fit in a 25mm square hole, if I want to rank and file them for the old world. So that's it. So yeah, what I've got printed at the moment is 80 hand weapons skeletons with 6 commands, so that's 86 models. I just need to look at some other stuff, so I'll show you. I'm thinking of getting some more infantry printed, but I've got cavalry, chariots, infantry. These are all from Highland Miniatures. I'm part of their Patreon, so I got a load of files released to me. When was it? Start of this month, I think. So yeah, there's that. Hello to everyone in the chat. Sorry, Shaker and Sprues in the chat. Evening. Thank you for lots of great comments recently and supporting the channel and joining on the live streams. Thanks to everyone in the chat already who for supporting the channel. Anyway, we've just gone over 1,000 subscribers, which is amazing. And recently I've upgraded my internet at my house so I can actually do live streams, because beforehand it was really bad internet. So I have had to basically get someone to come out. They had damaged lines, so they had to re-sort all that out. But in theory I should have better internet now. So anyway, the idea, I just thought I'd bring you along for just a chill chat as we stream, you know, what everyone else is getting up to. Again, this is a bit of an old world, Warhammer old world themed hobby night, because I'm slowly gearing into trying to get a full setup for that. So if anyone else is interested in that, you know, check it in the chat. It'd be interesting to hear people's thoughts. And I've done on my last I did a video previously talking about an Empire theme army I'm doing as well from Highland Miniatures, again, same company. So they're kind of, I think I've always really wanted to do a Tomb King army, or an Egyptian themed army, so that's why I'm jumping on this, and maybe they're going to be more enjoyable to paint, perhaps. I'm not sure. Yeah, I was talking earlier before the mic was turned on. I've been doing some shorts recently on my channel, just showing off sort of a tiny little bit of 3D printing progress on the Tomb King skeletons. So yeah, there's that. So without further ado, in theory, I should have everything set up here. And if I do this, I don't know. I don't know if people want to watch, and I don't know. Like, I want to print some files, but I'm not sure what to print. I'm at the moment. I'm just focusing on sort of infantry because the old world, they've announced a while back. They announced that most infantry that are on 20mm bases are going up to 25mm, I believe. So a safe bet at the moment is standard infantry because I know what they're basing on. If I want to go print chariots or cavalry or anything like that, I don't know how I'm going to base them, and I want to base them before paint them. So at the moment I'm just sticking to infantry, but let's chuck in. Ooh, wrong button. Let's check in these guys. These are some bowmen. I haven't printed any bowmen yet. Like I said, I've only got infantry, so what I want to do is get a print going, and then start sticking my current dudes on bases because they've all been printed, cleaned up, cured. So yeah, that's my thoughts. A thing to note on these Highland miniatures as well, I say that they're quite a good mix for Tomb Kings and stuff like that. However, Highland miniatures have they set their scales for basically everything to 32mm, so it's obviously bigger than 28mm. So with most of these files, you've got to scale them down. I'm part of the Discord. A lot of people say like they're from their experience sort of between 80 and 90% of the original size matches kind of GW. Quite a few people have said sort of around 88%. So that's kind of what I just do mine to. So yes. Sorry, I let it all load in. It's taken a while, but maybe it's because my computer's doing stuff. Are these dry undead? Yeah. These are juicy sculpts, but dry, dusty undead. But they are. I really like what Highland Miniatures have been doing. I wish I could buy a few more of the ranges. They do a really nice dwarven range, which I feel like the company. Why don't I print them on bases? That's a really good question. That's it. I think it's because it's going to take a bit of editing, which I know at the moment. I know that the way these come now, they're going to print well. If I add a base, I'll have to use the unsupported files. I'll have to then somehow attach them to a base and then have to do the supports myself, and I'm not so confident on the supports. And if you kind of get the supports wrong, you can kind of just fail the print. And it's not the massively the end of the world, but these guys probably will take, because of the height on this, I'm guessing they'll take around 7 or 8 hours. And you know, it's not, the time's not really an issue because I set them printing sort of when I go to bed, or maybe I get up in the morning, set them printing, and then go on with my day. So I'm not sat there watching them, but it's just a long time to find. I've done it a few times with printing cavalry it was for a friend, and you know you come back after a 6 or 7 hour print and they failed and you haven't got anything done, and you think, oh, well. So I like to stick with how the company who've done the files set it all up, because they've been test printed and they know they're going to print right. But I have thought about printing bases rather than printing them on the bases, just printing the bases separately, because MDF can soon rack up costings, and when you trying to do a bigger army, maybe, which I always for some reason like doing, I like doing bigger armies. It just means you just spend so much money on base. Like my American Civil War stuff, the amount of bases I've bought from Charlie Foxtrot, it's got to be a couple £100 worth. And anyone who doesn't know, I'm rebasing currently, so that's all getting ripped off and thrown away. So over the last 2-3 years, that's got to be a couple £100 that I've basically thrown down the toilet. And also, yeah, I'm not sure how. Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna figure that out. Hey, Lanschneck, come in the chat. Hello. As you've missed, I was basically looking. This is just a stream about the Tomb King project, or ancient Egyptian undead project, which I'm doing. So I want to just set up a build plate, get these guys on the printer, and then I'm going to go back to my physical stuff I printed the other day and get that all ready. But it begs the question of what I'm going to set printing tonight. I've done a load of warriors with hand weapons. I haven't done any archers. I haven't done any spearmen. So that's straight away I'm feeling like archers or spearmen might be the answer. I was saying earlier, I've got files for cavalry and chariots, but I'm not sure what bases I'm going to put them on, so I don't want to print them, because I like, maybe not the chariots, I might paint them off the base, but I like painting stuff on the bases, so I don't want to print anything that I'm not sure how I'm going to base, because then it's just going to sit there until, and this is set up for the old world, which isn't going to be, or supposedly, I think it's been announced that it's going to be released sort of February next year, sort of early next year, so I've got to wait quite a few months, so I'm going to have stuff sat here waiting to be painted, so, but here's a bunch of skeletons. This is from Harley Miniatures. They are monopose. Some of their other stuff is slightly not monopose, but this is monopose, but this seems to be a theme with what they've done. The last couple of releases they've done, which are this range, Eternal Dynasties, and Galia, I think is how you pronounce it, which is 2 fantasy ranges. They've been monopose. I mean, the Sunland range, which is kind of Empire for Warhammer Fantasy, they are monopose, apart from the heads are separate, so you can swap the heads around, so you do have some variety there. However, these skeletons are monopose, but I mean, having these all bitty and interchangeable would probably be a bit of a nightmare to print and to build. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not that bothered. They're nice poses, and in the hand weapon troops I printed earlier the other day, there's like a choice of 10 different models, and then you got the shield separately, so you can kind of add a bit of variation there. So yeah, there's plenty. Right, so here we go. We have 7 archers and then a command. So I said earlier, these need to be scaled down because they're too big. Ooh, press the wrong button. So I like to scale them at 88% because I find that from, like I said, experience, people say scaling them at 88% fits well with sort of a GW 28mm. And for example, if I click on this guy here, you know, and then you go over to the X on the scale and stuff, it says like 28mm height, and because he's like basically stood up with a bit of a platform, then he's gonna be around 28mm, which yeah, it is or it isn't, right? So and the bow's sticking up slightly, so that's a good. When I was at 100%, I noticed the other day it was on around 32mm, which is about what they scale them to. So yeah, makes sense. So yeah, I've scaled these down now, so they should fit in with what I'm currently printing, which is 28mm sort of, which in theory is meant to be similar to GW scalings. So this would work in theory well if you were going to do that, like play with GW systems or armies. Or so we're going to need a command for archers. Yeah, I think I'll go archers for now. I know I said about spearmen. I'll get some spearmen out. I'll show you the spearmen, but I think I'll go archers for now. What's that? Oh, that's the shields. Let's get some archers out. Sorry if you can hear the road as well in the background. I'm in the loft now and it's not very insulated from sound, so it's kind of... In the meantime, I need to... Because I've changed my internet as well, I need to set up my 3D printer for Wi-Fi, so... Do that in a minute. Here's one spearman. He is probably... Oh, what's his scale? Oh. It's like he's the right scale, that's weird. There we go, this guy's not right. Oh, that's weird. Do they look the right size? Oh, they do look the right size. Oh no, yeah, they are a lot bigger. Right. Okay. So these dudes are at 30 odd. 30, in theory 32 now. I've printed quite a few with hand weapons, and I've kind of been looking on forums recently about building armies and stuff for Warhammer Fantasy, and everyone seems to recommend spearmen over hand weapons because of like the spears give you, I guess, I don't know, extra point of weapon strength. I don't know what it refers to, and I guess spears have reach, whereas the hand weapons only they give you a parry, but it's not actually that good. So I guess if you were min-maxing it, you're going to want to do spears over hand weapon infantry. However, I've printed a load of hand weapon infantry, so that's where we're at with it. Lanceneck said, "Do you think the old world game will be Forge World only?" I haven't looked massively into. I don't think it is. No. I feel like it's going to be a bit of a. I don't know. A bit like their other small games they've done. I'm not sure if they're going to put massive energy into it unless everyone's showing it love. So. A bit like Necromunda or something like that, or Kill Team. You know, it's a game they've released and they're putting sets out. But is it going to be a bit like 40k where there's new models all the time? I don't know. But if it sells really well, then it'll probably force their hand and they'll be like, yeah, go on. But the way looks like they're releasing it, it's getting released not bare bones, but not as in depth as they could have gone. So, for example, there's quite a few factions that they're not writing into the old world, but they're going to allow it to be compatible. It's just, for example, lizard men aren't in it. Who else isn't in it? Dark Elves, I think. Oh, I'll have to look. But so yeah, I think it's going to be a GW main game. It's just going to be. I don't know. I just don't. Unless it performs really well, we might just see it kind of just trickle along in the background, a bit like some of the other games. I'm looking forward to it. The only thing is, I'm not sure who's. Like, out of my friend group, I don't think anyone's going to play it, which means I'm having to then potentially try find people to play it. Right, we've just done 7 plus 7, 14, so we need another. Should we do? I could put as many on the plate as I can, or just have 20 archers in a command. I think that's what we'll do. Oh no. What have I done? very good question, Leslie. I've had no issues with the level, however, and I've not had any issues with temperature. But I do think temperature is a factor, mainly because of the resin. I've noticed the viscosity of the resin changes massively with temperature. I once went on holiday for about 5 days or so. Must have been last winter. So I had the heating off the house the whole time. And I remember coming back to the house and it was freezing cold. And I went up to chat and go into my room, and I went to do some printing. So I poured out the resin and it was thick and gloopy. So I ended up getting it back out of the printer and letting sort of everything warm up before I printed with it. Now I don't know if that is an issue or not, but for me, I feel like if the viscosity is if the fluid's thicker, I assume that could cause an issue printing. Now I've done a few prints recently overnight when it's been quite cold, and the prints have seemed fine. But yeah, from just thinking about it, I would imagine it would cause an issue, but I haven't come across any issues yet myself from bed leveling or anything. Obviously, the way this printer works is it's leveled to itself, so if the printer's square with itself, it's fine. The only things you'll find is the vat. If you're on too much of a slope, you might find the vat, obviously you'd have to be on a big slope, but the vat might be sort of drained one side where it's not the other, and then if the printer runs out of fluid, out of resin whilst it's trying to print, then you might fail that way. But I tried to spirit level the table and get it as level as I could. So yeah, I don't know. I haven't had any issues yet, so yeah. Manchek said, I was thinking they already have Age of Sigmar and Lord of the Rings. Doing Old World is for nostalgia, and older gamers with deeper pockets makes me think it would be Forge World. Yeah, I think some people would kind of compare it to Horus Heresy, which was Forge World for a very long time, but now it's not. So yeah, I think the thing with fantasy is it's a different rule. It's a different game to Age of Sigmar, for example. So it's not like they were releasing Age of Sigmar but set in the old world setting. So therefore, you could argue actually it doesn't need to be released by GW. I would almost say that because it's kind of a completely different rule set, they can get away with it. Maybe it could be like, for example, Lord of the Rings. It gets a bit of love every now and then, but apart from that, it's kind of been left alone. And you might find, I wonder if Old World might be a bit like that. They'll release it, people will play it, or they won't, and then GW will kind of come back to it when they want. If they've put like a small team on it now and they haven't assigned such big numbers to it, you might find they'll just let it trickle. And if there's a sudden upsurge and they need to push more effort into it, they will. But when you're 40k in Age of Sigmar, which I believe do really well, they'll focus on that. Because you're right, kind of Old World is maybe a bit more for old. Well, I feel like the Old World appeal will be for sort of the players who used to play it originally, because they've got that nostalgia. And apart from the armies looking real cool, what's going to attract people to the game system? I can't remember. I was watching something a while ago. I can't remember what it was, and someone was talking about how I guess maybe the majority of war gamers tend to be favouring sort of skirmish games these days, and that might be where you're at with sort of Age of Sigmar, maybe where Age of Sigmar's done really well because it's skirmished in a way. It's a small amount of models. Because thinking about really with Warhammer Fantasy, I've been looking at some battle reports recently, and yeah, you've got like 40 men in a block, but that block it's a one block moving around. So like, if you've got a regiment charging and pivoting, it's just that block really, and those men that sit in that block are only there to measure casualties. And a good example, I've got a good friend of mine, and I always try trick him into playing sort of, or try get him to try play Black Powder, or interested in Black Powder, where you just got some bases, you don't necessarily have figure removal or anything, and it just doesn't appeal to him because he wants to move around those individual miniatures. He's really big into the Lord of the Rings um, game because it's all like you're moving individual miniatures, and yeah, the more you think about with fantasy, that isn't really you figure removal, but that's about it. So maybe people want to buy a slightly expensive miniature from Games Workshop, paint it up or not, but some people like to paint it up and then they like to put it on the table and move it around, and yeah. So if you, for example, built a 40-man regiment for fantasy, you move that whole blob into another blob and then take 20 casualties or whatever, and then all that blob gets wiped out. I don't know. I think it's certainly a different mentality than Age of Sigmar or other skirmish games, and it's just whether the community wants to play that these days. But yeah, you're right, Leslie. It does depend on sales. I like GW is a business at the end of the day that want to make money, so yeah, if it makes money, I'd like to think they'd support it. If you like mechanics of Black Powder, why not go in the direction of War Master Fantasy? As in War Master, as in the small scale stuff, yeah. I've recently been looking at it, and I really like the idea of it personally. So that might be something I go down the route of. Okay, so we've got 21 bowmen plus a command. Is that enough? I'm thinking for I play Age of Magic as well, so trying to keep it on that sort of multiplication table where I'm like, yeah, trying to think. 16, 24. So if I could get another 3 archers, that would work. I'll copy you. 10mm for Warmaster. There is a company, I'm pretty sure they do 10mm STL files, like rank and file, like STLs for Warhammer. And yeah, I would be definitely. The problem with me is I always want to collect armies. But I get to a point now I want to play them, and trying to find people to play them with. So if I feel like War Master might be pretty niche. So yeah, that's my thought on it. Let's auto layout this. In the meantime, I need to set up my printer. I think, going back to your question, Leslie, on temperature, this might be a tester because it's a bit cold tonight, and if I'm going to set this print in overnight, that might be this might be the test. Right. Forest Dragon. Oh, I might check that out then. There's definitely a company I saw, and I can't remember where it is now. Set up. That one's set up. Just one bit set up. We're almost there. Basically, I send for my 3D print, and I send the file wirelessly to the printer, and then it can print from there. So it needs an internet connection. And every time I turn it off, it resets. So you've got to put it in the password every time, and it's on a tiny little screen, and it's a bit of a pain. but we'll get there. Oh, it didn't like it. Right, let's check that. Sorry, I'm trying to Wi-Fi the thing. Which it won't do, obviously. I mean, worst case, we just don't. Huh. That's a good start. It won't connect to the internet. Right. Okay. Forget that. Forget that. Ain't working. It ain't working. There's not much I can do with that. Right. Ooh. There we go. Let's set this up. My thing's having a freak out. Right. So, very shaky camera, but we get to do this now. Sorry, I've just ignored the chat. Right. Tonight I'll be playing Dragon Rampant using my old Orcs and Goblins. Oh, nice, yeah. I know Lion Rampant's a good set and everyone likes that, but I've not looked too much into Dragon Rampant, although I know it exists. Right, sorry, all my stuff's in the way, really. Tomorrow night, my wife wants to play Dracula's America game with me. Get in the mood for Halloween. Oh, nice. Have we... Right, what's that say? Sorry, Les, I can't read your thing. Jinx on it. Yeah, I think maybe so. I don't... Yeah, it won't connect to the internet for some reason. Oh, why is that because this probably isn't the way to do it, to be honest. But we'll just leave it as. Cool. Right. So the idea. So yeah, this is some of the chaps I've done. Oh, it's really grainy. It's annoying. Ooh. So yeah, on chucky. Yeah, some really nice. Really nice poses. Yeah, they look great. These guys. They got like really cool sort of strips of fabric and stuff. And also, here's a big bunch of shields. Let me see if I can. I don't get. Quality just seems rubbish, doesn't it? Ooh. Yeah, which is a shame. It just seems a bit grainy. Oh well. Oh well. Sorry. Yeah. And yeah, like this guy's quite cool, which is a sort of commander. So yeah. Banner bearer. Does it look really pixely on your screen, or is that just me? Because camera just looks a bit rubbish to me. Yeah, banner, and then we got musician as well. Which, from looking at the actual original sculpts for the Tomb Kings, looks quite on theme, which is great. Let's have a move around. Got a load of stuff in the way. Sorry, just had to have a squish. What type of resin do I use? I use Elegoo. Elegoo resin. Let me get it. I'm not going to show it. There you go. That's what I use. And yeah, someone recommended it to me, and I use it, and I've had good results. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Someone recommended it, so I used it, and yeah, I get on well with it. It's not mad expensive either, which helps. Right, let's try. I'm going to try use a different glue. Just because I normally use this glue, right? But it's such a small tub and expensive, but it dries really quick. But then I got this, which takes a lot longer to dry, but it's like so much cheaper and still pretty good. So, let's try this out. Is it fragile though? So a couple of guys I broke their legs, but I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's not brittle. I haven't got much experience with other resins, so, but it I'm sure I could break them if I wanted to, but I don't really want to. But yeah, I mean I've broken them when taking them off their supports, but I don't know how much is that me just being heavy-handed. So yeah, I really can't say. I'm just not experienced enough with it. So yeah, I use the Elegoo. For some reason, on this streaming stuff I've got, There's a really annoying little thing in the way, so I can't read the chat. Use the Elegoo. Is that the water washable stuff? I'm not sure I know that one. Some people say the water washable can be a bit brittle, is that right? Or have issues with. So in theory, if these guys, I'll leave him there so you can see him. If he stands up on his own, then this glue should hold him. Because it takes a while to set. But I don't know why this is really pixely, this camera. I don't know if it's just me, but that just seems really pixely. Might literally just have to deal with it. Whoa! Right, that's a bit silly. Right, let's leave it. Meantime, let's just get some more guys glued down. This is the next thing, is get them all glued, and then I can spray them. I'm really looking forward to painting these guys up. They look great. And rumour has it as well, Highland Miniatures might come. So they've released this range as a bit of a one-off thing, but by the sounds of it, they're going to look at coming back to it next year. Just polish it off, because if you were thinking in the mind of Warhammer Fantasy Tomb Kings, there's a few things that they haven't got in the range. I would like to see sort of heavy infantry, like a Tomb Guard or whatever they call them. It'd be nice to see them, which are pretty much the same models. Or, well, I guess they could use the same base models, and they just got to add sort of shoulder, neck pieces to it, as well as different weapon loadouts, which I'm sure is very doable. Oh, he's not having a good time. Some of these I might have to use a better glue, a quick drying glue for if they're slightly off balance. Also, I haven't filed their feet down. What I did on my Empire Troop ones was where the print is done. Their feet are not flat just because of where it's printed. It's just part of the printing, I think. So they just don't sit flat, which is a slight issue. Kind of, not really. But it would probably make it easier if I filed their feet down first. It would just help sticking. But as these guys are kind of doing alright. Oh, that's a point. Oh. I'm missing a couple of shields off. When I printed last, I didn't think about the musician and the standard bearer having a shield, so I didn't print them a shield. So when I print these bows, I'll have to add some shields on. Right, well there's a bunch already. Only a lot more to go. See, oh, that looks alright up close, doesn't it? I wonder if I need to just zoom in. I don't know. For me, the background just seems a bit grainy. Like, you stay still. That's the way you do it. Proper map. Yeah, some of these poses are just great. This guy here, like a cool axe or a club axe thing. Fantasy aside, I like the idea of doing sort of an ancient Egypt army. Just an interesting era. Oh, Have I seen War Games Atlantic's files? I've been looking at one-page rules ones. Again, just sort of supplement this. Have I looked at War Games Atlantic? I think I have. I think I looked at it. Yeah, I look at the. I've looked at the. I think that's a look now. Let me have a look now whilst we're talking about it. Otherwise, yeah. War Games Atlantic. I think I have looked at them. I just can't entirely remember. Ooh, yeah, they're nice. Just found them. Oh, I found some of them. I think, yeah, you should kind of be able to use them to complement each other, really. Different ranges. Which, yeah, I'll probably end up doing. Right, you guys don't like sticking to the base. But yeah, I'm part of the Highland Miniatures Patreon, so I get their files monthly, which is nice because they do a nice, so far, a real nice set of miniatures. Yeah, I just kind of feel it's nice having. I wouldn't necessarily, for example, one range of theirs works really well for sort of Bretonnia. That's not a range, although it's a range I'm actually interested in. It's not something I would have gone out and bought now, but I've got the files now because of the Patreon, which is nice. They've got chariots. Yeah, I've got chariots from Highland Miniatures. So I've currently got some chariots. I just didn't want to print them yet because I'm not sure how I'm going to base them. So they're on hold. Also, I've got to try to figure out how to get my printer working now. So now they go. Again, I'm kind of looking at sort of people's lists they play the game with as well. Obviously, I'm going off old versions, but try kind of gauge what units would be useful and what not. So I guess the real thing is when the new games are released, I've got probably a better idea of the rule. For example, get my hands on the rules and then looking at what we'll do. Again, I'm not a competitive player, so it's hard to go because I try to find lists online and they tend to be competitive, and it's all like, oh, don't take warriors or something like that because, you know. And then it's like, well, actually, I think for me, I want to put warriors on the board because I think they look cool. You know, have a block. I just love the Tomb King shields. I think they just look really cool. So that's why I want to get a big army of people with shields. Go on there. So what I was saying about this glue though, it takes a while to set, so unless the guys are happy to stand there, which these more or less all are. All about the chariots. Yeah, I mean, I've got them. I can print them. Again, until I know what base size they're going on, I'm just going to hold fire. But I can always show you the STL files for the chariots if you want. Yeah. So again, I don't know enough about Warhammer Fantasy, but from what I've read, yeah, like sort of flank impact hits and stuff like that is where they do well. So So it's on the. I would like to do some. At the moment, I just really want to get into painting some. So I've got the infantry sat here. And when I sort out the 3D printer, I'll have some more infantry. But yeah. I wonder how I can get this bigger. That literally... Oh. Should I get it bigger? Oh, don't like that. Does not like it. Alright, this guy's falling over again. Or was that a different guy? That's the problem though, when you're sticking a lot of dudes on there, using this sort of expensive glue gets really expensive. Is that worse? Have I made it worse now? Let's do that. Let's go kick out again. That's better. Apart from this one skeleton that just keeps falling over. They're going to be sent off to the naughty bin. There we go. Cool. Just a load more to do. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to painting these guys up. I think they're going to be a lot of fun. Mainly because they're not simple, but they've got the potential to be quite easy to paint just through sort of contrast paints and dry brushes and a bit of detailing on the shields. Yeah, I think it's going to be fun. All out of shot. Which is fine. I can always just turn it this way again. Commute. There we go. These guys are not liking it. Last piano miniatures. Is that Raphael, the sculptor? Raphael? For the last piano miniatures? If so, that's the sculptor or who's done a lot of sculpting for Studio Historia, the American Civil War Kickstarter I picked up. And yeah, I've had a look at the piano Kickstarters and they look great. I would like to get into some more Napoleonics. I keep toying with the idea. It's just have it again sort of restricted to, yeah, I want to start a collection, but also I've not got any use for it. At the moment, a safe bet for me is collecting armies that I know I can use to play games. And like this army, I can kind of get away with like I said, Age of Magic and stuff like that. I really want to do a narrative campaign for Age of Magic. So yeah, I'd love to use these guys. I've got some other skeletons. I've got some Warlords of Arran. Oh, I don't know. No, it might be Atlantic. No, it might be Warlord Games skeletons. The ones that are Jason and the Argonauts. I've got them. I built one up. I sort of built up an army for them, which I liked using. Age of Magic's got a cool skeleton themed army, like, where you get sort of resurrection and stuff, which is cool. So I'm going to have these guys instead now. Again, I like these a bit more just because they're having those cool shields. Like these shields, I think they just look really cool. So I'm excited to get them on the board. Come on, guys, stop falling down. Had too many drinks. But yeah, going back to Napoleonics. Austrian, yeah, Austrians. I would really like to look at. One, it's just their uniforms really. I think they look great, and also a white. I think like Hammond white uniforms just looks really nice as well. I bought some French infantry from Victrix a while ago with the idea of doing Italians. Yeah, doing some Italians, but yeah. Hey, wardrobe. Yeah, that is quite a lot. It's quite a lot. It's I've got 80. Can I zoom out? There we go. So I've got 86 guys to base up, and some more here. So yeah. Tell you what, I'll just leave the camera like this for now. Why not? Where was I? Yeah, I got some like Italian, French infantry to do Italians, just because again they're sort of white uniforms, which looks cool. Shu Historia are doing their Sons of Yamamoto. That's the World War II Japanese stuff, right? Yeah, they do look nice. They do look nice. The sculptor for them, I think it is Raphael. He does just nice. It's quite lifelike. Nice proportions and stuff like that for the bodies and that. Yeah, I think he does a great job. Stay up. Again, I probably should have filed the feet down, but I was excited. Just wanted to get on with it. That's my bad. That's my bad. But yeah, I think with the mixture of shields in there, you can kind of keep the variation on these guys going. Because yeah, there's like I said, there's 10 mono poses, which I think, I say plenty. It's fine. Plus you got 12 or 13 different shields, I think. So yeah, you can really. And also, there's not like I say they're pretty basic, but it's not like they've got all matching trousers and stuff, because they're not. They're literally skeletons, which are basically the same. So they've got different sorts of headgear. Some sort of have, I don't know, some remnants of cloth around their ankles or their waists. But yeah, so it's not such a problem them looking all the same, because they're kind of meant to sort of look the same. can't tell, Jenny, you could be looking at Undead Amazon, are you? True. I've got some skeletons before, which are sort of Greek themes, but I just love the ancient Egyptians. Come on, stay up. That's the thing. This glue takes a while to set, but it seems to set as well as the sort of super strength, quick drying stuff. It's just making sure they stand up long enough. That's the only problem. The horde. And again, this sort, I feel like these guys would lend themselves to batch painting as well. So I'm hoping you can kind of. I'm a batch painter anyway. It's my jam. And yeah, I feel like these guys would be fairly easy to do. Chuck a load of skeleton horde on them, dry brush them, paint the weapons. And gonna go in with the fabric stuff. What I think I like about the Tomb Kings is the sort of how they normally are shown with sort of like blue trims and stuff, or blue shields, and that blue I think just really pops and it looks nice. So that's what I want to try replicate with these guys. Just have like the skeleton horde with these sort of nice blue. And I don't know if anyone's seen Miniature Realms, Stuart's Miniature Realms. He's done a video on painting Tomb Kings, and he's like using the sort of weathering pigments and powders and stuff like that, just to kind of finish it off with sort of blending the base, and that just looks really nice. So that's going to be something I want to try with these guys as well, because also like it adds. I feel like it adds a bit of age to the model, because obviously it's an old skeleton that's been buried for years. Or it's been wandering through the deserts on campaign or something like that, so it would be dusty. E6000 glue. I don't know what that is. I've had a really funny one the other day. These guys have been sat in the loft, not doing anything. American Civil War, not doing anything, just sat in the loft carefully. And all the flags are faded. They're not got direct sunlight or anything, and I just don't get that. Very weird. So that should all be yellow. It's just literally just the yellow bits of the flags that are faded. The rest of the flag seems okay. It just seems very weird. It's happened to. I've got 3 sets of flags up here, and this will happen to them. So yeah, it's a bit odd, that one. I'm just going to go in and paint them, just fix them up, but. Yeah, weird. Don't fall over. Don't fall over. Yeah, I'm excited for Old World just to see what they do with it. Obviously, some Old World stuff announced recently, Monday. Okay, see you later, Lanchnet. Thanks for stopping by. The stream's only going to be going for a bit longer anyway, because I've had so many late nights recently. I want to have an early one, not stay up late. But thank you for stopping in and supporting. Hopefully I can sort out a 3D printer before I go to bed. So it won't connect to the internet. I'm going to go for a couple more minutes and then end the stream there. I'll say it's just a bit of a chat whilst I'm gluing and meant to be trying to set up a 3D print, but that's failed miserably. But yeah, thank you for everyone who's come along and watched. I'll say hopefully I get this printer set up. Otherwise that's a bit of a problem because I haven't actually used it since I've set the internet up, my new internet up. And if the printer don't like it for some reason, then I'm out of commish for a bit. Which is a pain. And like most things, it should definitely work, and it's probably just not going to because that's just what it is. It doesn't want to work, so it doesn't work. Hey. Right. I'll leave it there. Let's do this. Ta-da! Right, everybody. Still skeletons falling over. Thank you for coming and joining in the stream. I appreciated the people coming along, chatting, watching. You know, chucking in stuff in the chat. I'm going to try to do a bit more with the Tomb Kings. Maybe just do a bit of a live stream going forward with all the parts of the project essentially. Because now, like I said, I've got new internet sorted, so I can actually live stream. Because beforehand it was crashing out all the time, and now it's not. So yeah, I'm going to, let's say, gluing these down. Next step's literally spray paint them, which is doable. And then yeah, painting, which I'm looking forward to. Like I said, I'm just looking forward to getting on. I'm just moving a junk. Looking forward to getting on and painting. So yeah, there's that. Right, thank you everybody, and as always, catch me